What do you mean jet lag? You were in Vegas. It's only 3 hours. That's like just getting a bad night's sleep.
Yes, correct. You've identified the problem. I was in Vegas. That's why I'm tired.
What happens in Vegas doesn't sleep in Vegas.
No, what happens in Vegas follows you back and feels like either COVID or the worst hangover you've ever had.
So you don't shun the devil with your rock and roll load. Knows that country music's gonna save your soul. The devil runs his groove in them rhythm and blues that Sam. It's gonna get you son in the
Welcome back to the Speakeasy. I'm Sother Teague.
And I'm Greg Benson. After dark, we are
That's right.
doing a special
Speakeasy
late night recording
After
here.
Dark.
Due to a scheduling snafu, we were recording this at 10 p.m. local time. So I got a little whiskey over here. Oh yeah, it's 10. Well, a Greg Benson 10 o'clock, which is 10:20.
Right. You got a little whiskey. I was going to bring a Vieux Carré, but I got trapped doing a bunch of homework and then had to come straight into the studio here because today is the first day of Lent. And I wanted to maybe pay a little homage to New Orleans. But I also want to mention a bit about Lent that I think is just a cool story. You know, Paulaner beer, right? One of the oldest breweries in the world. Yeah,
of course, yeah.
So, of course, everybody knows Paulaner. Paulaner makes a double buck, and it's called, I want to say Sultan or something like that. Sultana, something. But it's the one that they've been making for forever. And the reason that they made it in the first place is they were making it as a Lenten food, right? Food to eat for Lent. Meaning their plan was to give up all solid food for 40 days and simply survive on this beer.
Mm-hmm.
But when they made it, they were like, ooh, this is delicious. And part of Lent, especially in the pious world, you're supposed to give up things that you love. So it was kind of like this little double-edged sword. It's so good, though. Maybe we shouldn't do this for Lent. So they sent off a batch of it to the Pope to have the Pope say, you boys are good. You can drink this or not. The problem is it had to travel so far that when it got to the Pope, it had soured. So the Pope was like, yeah, you guys can drink this garbage for 40 days instead of eating food if you really want to beat yourselves down. And so they drank their delicious double bock for 40 days and they still make it to this day. And that's how they started their Lenten situation.
Well, this is actually kind of one of the interesting things about like monks and beer, which is that, you've got your Belgian singles, doubles, tripels, quadrupels, that sort of a thing. As you go up the numbering chart, they get stronger and stronger. And a lot of these were made as Lenten beverages because they would throw a lot of extra malt in there to make up for the calories they were giving up in food. So nowadays, when we think about fasting, we think about like, oh man, you're going to be hungry, you're going to be deprived, you're going to be focused, you're going to be just really drinking deep from the cup of suffering.
Mm-hmm.
These monks, though, what they were doing is they were making up for the calories that they weren't eating by drinking these super strong, like 10, 12% beers. So that is one way to commune with your God. That frankly, I kind of
40 days of getting closer to God by being pretty buzzed for the whole time.
Yes. No food in your stomach, just 12% beer. You're going to really feel the Holy Spirit after doing that.
On a bet, when I was a young man living in Chicago.
Oh, I really want to hear where the story is going.
Yeah. My best friend, my best friend, Scott Mitchell, and I bet one another to see who could go the longest on nothing but Guinness. He made it 7 days. I made it 9. That's the story.
Sother, you and I have known each other for 10 years, and I'm so personally offended that I'm only hearing this story now. How did I not know this one from your back catalog? I mean, this doesn't feel like a B-side, man. What was day 9 like?
I mean, this was a long time ago. Left Chicago in 92, so I don't know that I can remember super well. What I do remember is I survived on Guinness alone, obviously water, and Big Red chewing gum. And the gum was the savior because after like day 3 or 4, I remember feeling really strange about not chewing anything. Right? You sort of forget how to, it seems weird to say it, but like, I remember being like, I need to chew something, right? My jaw is like, why aren't we chewing on anything?
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
So I think the gum got me there. And then also Scott bailed out on day 7 and I was like, I can best you and go even longer. So I didn't even go 1 more day. I went 2 more days.
Yeah. What happened? What was going on in your mind on day 8 where you're like, I've already won. but I'm going to see if I can. What was it about day 9 that was special to you? That was the summit that you wanted to get to the top?
Okay, so I think this is the part you do know about me well enough. I'm stubborn.
Yes.
That's it.
This part actually made perfect sense. I just wanted to confirm that my priors were correct.
Yeah, 100%. That was it. I just wanted to be like, really cross the finish line harder. So I went an extra day.
Wow.
I remember we both weighed in. I mean, I don't think we were very scientific about it, but I remember we both weighed in and neither one of us lost any weight. Which means we were drinking a pretty healthy amount of Guinness.
Yeah, there you go. It's a health supplement. I mean, what was it?
Yeah.
I remember when I was living in the UK, there's like some old advertising campaign for Guinness that was like, you can survive on this shit for like 2 weeks without food. So,
well, yeah, I mean, that's kind of why I brought up the polliner story, right? If you can go 40 days, I can easily go 9.
Well, good for you. Speaking of piousness, I'm back from a city that I never visited before that I had a really interesting time in. Yes. The Den of Sin itself, Las Vegas. What an interesting place that is.
Yeah. This is what your first time, was it?
It was my first time. I'd never been to Las Vegas before. What just an insane spot. And
it's like a whole city of Times Square and then add in gambling.
Well, here's the thing. It's a whole city of Times Square. And then there's a weird block where it's like Williamsburg from 15 years ago, or like Richmond, Virginia, where it's like hipsters opening coffee shops and making empanadas out of food trucks. And then it turns back into Times Square again. It's insane because you've got like downtown Vegas, and you've got the Strip, and then in between you've got some genuinely really cool and interesting spots of people that almost kind of feel like they're hiding from the other people that would fly into Las Vegas. What an odd place. I loved it. I wasn't sure how I felt about it, honestly, until I went to the Neon Museum, which I highly advise anyone who's in that town to do. They have a lot of the original signs from like the Stardust, the Plaza, the Dune, the Flamingo. They have a giant skull that used to be on the side of Treasure Island that's easily like 20 feet long. And it gives you a real sense of the fact that this town is only a century old.
Yeah.
Like it did such a speed run on going from being a railroad depot to being a global economic center to now being a place that's just kind of a corporate wasteland. It has passed the rest of us, and it's a weird, grim vision of the future that awaits us if we continue down this path, Ebenezer Scrooge. It's just such an odd place. I loved it. I'm glad I was only there for 4 days, but I really enjoyed it.
Well, everything, what's the saying? What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So you don't have to confess any of those sins. You can leave them right there.
Yep. Well, except for the fact that I might have COVID, but we'll see. That might have followed me back from Las Vegas.
Oh, no.
I probably didn't have COVID. It's probably just a hangover.
Speaking of COVID.
Yes.
It was March in 2020, the last time our guest was on the show.
Yes. March 4th of 2020.
Right before the whole world went to hell.
We were looking at pictures of the three of us from 6 human years ago and just thinking, oh, these poor, optimistic, fresh-faced young men have no idea what's coming for them. We were all gearing up for Elizabeth Warren to win the Democratic primary. Wow. We were thinking about where we were going to go on vacation that June. What a heady time that was. How we've all aged since then, except for our guest who looks fantastic. We've got Hennessy's own Sean Johnson. Thank you so much for coming on, Sean. It's great to have you.
My pleasure to be here.
Welcome back, buddy. And thanks for coming in at such a late hour to do the show with us because of our scheduling error earlier today with a different guest. But really love that you're always at the ready. And we're kind of neighbors. We live in close proximity to one another here in Brooklyn.
Yeah. We are a few blocks away on the other side of the Home Depot.
That's right.
Oh, that Home Depot.
Yeah. Well, let's refresh the memory and then we'll get forward thinking for the listener. But when we last saw Sean Johnson, you worked for a Michelin-starred restaurant, 2 Michelin-starred restaurant, Gabriel Croither.
Nice. You got it.
Finally, yeah. I nailed it. And you were rocking the bar there, and you gave us tons of great stories about that. But then the world shut down, and then what happened?
I mean, for me,
Yeah.
I'm not recapping the history of the world at that time.
No.
Just give us a brief rundown of the last 6 years. Not a lot's happened.
Yeah.
It's been pretty sleepy, all things
I mean,
considered.
could you
calm.
imagine trying to describe to somebody what happened in the past 6 years to somebody that just woke up
Yeah.
or flew in from Vegas?
I so frequently think about, like, this is just, I don't know if anyone else does this, but like, I think about how much I would love to go back in time to a previous version of myself just for 30 seconds to be like, dude, you're not going to believe this, but watch out for that virus they're talking about on the news. It's going to be a real monster.
Yeah. Washing your hands ain't enough.
Yeah. Stock up on toilet paper and bleach, buddy. You're going to need it.
Yeah. 2 days ahead of time. Yeah, for me, it was when everything shut down. Hennessy called me, which was a weird kind of ironic situation. They hadn't had a kind of ambassador rep in the New York area for quite some time. And about a month after I got laid off from Crowther, they called me and they were like, hey, you got recommended by a buddy of yours and we're looking for some Hennessy representation in New York. How do you feel about it? And I was like, of course. I mean, it was a no-brainer at that time. They could have called me, before I moved to New York, and I would have said yes, because it's kind of one of those brands that if you said no, you'd be making a mistake,
Yeah.
Well, let's let me do a deeper recap and talk about how, like, you're an artist. You do large scale installation style art. It's beautiful. I've seen some of your pieces. And then you worked in a university in the art department, and then you left that to be a bar back. Did some bartending out in Seattle. Wait, am I skipping something?
No.
Okay.
I didn't leave it. They left me. So the art department got canceled. I was teaching at a university, and I was teaching at the University of Washington, and they canceled the department that I was teaching at, and it was part of kind of like the turn down of that section of the art department. And my buddy Casey Robeson knew I needed a job, and I started bar backing for him, and at this crazy place that was a burlesque bar in Seattle, Washington. And that's how I became a bartender. So I was funding my habit of art with bartending for about 12 years in Seattle.
Right. And you worked for Jamie Boudreau, and then we kind of did this weird, we joked many times in the past about how it was an exchange student situation. Chris Elford left Amoria Margo and moved to Seattle and worked at Cannon, and you left Cannon and moved to New York City and worked at Amoria Margo with some other bars in between there. Was brand ambassadorship ever in your target sites? Because you say you'd have taken that job if they called you earlier. Then that's why I kind of brought up your
Absolutely.
past.
Like, this was almost 20 years ago, right? And brand ambassadorship almost 20 years ago is a lot different than it is today, where it was kind of like retirement track, where when I was a bartender, people don't realize outside of the industry how much it takes a toll on your body. Not only the toll you put yourself through, like we all have our relationship with alcohol, but also physically standing behind a bar, your knees go, your back goes. So there were a ton of people that I looked up to that were brand ambassadors that were, they had a salary and a matched, expense account, right? So they were just living the dream and opening things and, making more relationships through ambassadorship. So yes, I always thought that to sort of transition, I value the education, I value the experience that I've had working in bars, but how do you take that to the next level? How do you have an impact on other bartenders? It's not just working behind your own bar, it is reaching out to other bars, which we see with takeovers and stuff like that today. So for me, yeah, ambassadorship was always kind of the next step for me after bartending.
So you're viewing part of this anyway as an opportunity for you to not only be behind the bars you were behind, but then to sort of just go around and be behind other bars.
Reach out, build community, educate. Yes, absolutely. Not just being behind the stick, but like learning what other sticks are, right? Yeah. It's not just about working. It's about that community that you build and what a community means in a different style situation.
You mentioned that this is very, very different 20 years ago when you know, when
It was.
we were all younger people back then.
Right. Yeah.
Not me.
What were you, 15?
Yeah, exactly.
16, actually. A real natty light connoisseur back in the day.
Yeah.
But, you know, and I want to get into what it's like now. But first of all, let's kind of talk about your entree into this world. You joined up in what I'm guessing, based on the timeline, like the spring of 2020. Do I have that right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Like early summer. Yep.
So Hennessy calls you, offers you the job. And as you said, like that's an offer you'd be insane to say no to. But when they asked if you wanted to come on as a brand ambassador, were you like, yeah, man, I'd be happy to. But like, have you been outside recently?
Yeah. Are you paying attention to the news at all?
Seriously, it's recapping that time of my life. But yeah, the answer was yes. What? Like, yes. How are we going to do this? Yeah, absolutely. It was because we were shut down. There was absolute when I started my onboarding process at LVMH, New York was shut down. There was no outdoors. There was no nothing. So of course I said yes. And then how are we going to do this? And we built a path as we went. As the world started to open up, we learned how to engage with the world again. I mean, the new normal. Remember that? Like the new normal. So yeah.
Much as I try not to, I do remember it. Yes. So what did the new normal look like? I mean, I imagine that your first assignment was anything but typical, and that it wasn't the sort of thing where someone who'd been doing this job for, 30 years could come and be like, all right, kid, this is what you need to do in this situation. Like, we were all just making it up as we went along. So tell me about what those first couple months were like for you in this gig.
Amazing question. I was actually kind of, it's corporate. Number one, we have to get that out of the way. Like, it's a huge company. There are
I mean, this is. I think it's worth noting. Like, this is not. And the reason you said you'd be kind of insane to say no to particularly this brand is because of its sheer size, right? Right. You're not saying no to the local distillery. You're saying no to a global juggernaut. Right.
Hennessy. So, if we talk about the core marks that are available in the United States, Hennessy VS, VSOP, and XO, Hennessy VS by itself outsells Remy, Martell, Cavassier, Douce combined. All of their marks, everything that they sell.
And that's to not even bring in the smaller players. Like, and when I say smaller players, it's shocking to say, Pierre Ferrand is a small player. Right. in that pool. They're a little goldfish.
Right. So yeah, it is a juggernaut. It's a slow moving glacier. And I was recounting when I started, and when we were, building relationships with accounts, building relationships with trade as the world started to open up. We really had to be mindful of how we were doing it, because as a huge company, as a huge label, as a huge brand that's recognizable across the world, we wanted to be a little bit more sensitive to how people were engaging with spirits back then and engaging with brands. Because, we've all been in the bar that we don't carry big brands. And I remember it like yesterday, the bars that thought they could live just on local brands, which, you took your chance, good job. But it's really hard to do. It's really difficult to do something like that. So getting to know the trade at that level, understanding that after COVID, and I guess we're still talking about during COVID, a lot of bartenders had left, especially in New York City. They either went back home or went back to school, or, got jobs that were a little higher paying, advertising,
use their degree that they hadn't used.
Exactly. So we had to re-engage in a way that was education based. And, that was a reintroduction to Hennessy for a lot of bartenders back then. And, for me as a brand ambassador, because I was just starting. So it was an interesting time for sure.
Talk a little bit about how, the grandiosity of the size of Hennessy plays into it, because you and I worked together for a long time, and I know you're a big fan of cognac, so it does make sense to me that you went to this brand. And I know that not everybody gets that luxury. A lot of people work for brands because it's the job that was available, not necessarily either the category or even the brand specific that they want, but they take the job because they need a job. And I totally understand that. But like, talk a little bit about how your love of cognac led you to this place.
Sure. Well, as a category, as a spirit category, cognac was digestible to me, right? Like we used to do, we called them DDOCs, daily dose of cognac. When I was working at Canon in Seattle, a friend of mine, Chris Goad, we would do a DDOC most days that we worked together.
Which in itself is a little bit funny, right? Because Canon, known for having the correct me if I'm quoting it wrong, the largest whiskey collection in the Western Hemisphere, and you're taking your daily dose of cognac.
Sure.
And then when you worked with me at Amore Amargo, all the Amaro, and we would drink cognac.
Yeah, it's just a nice little tipple. I think, and I'm not trying to be glib, but there are aspects to, if you have to do something every day, you might want to enjoy it, right? So when I train on cognac 3, 4, 5, 6 times a day, depending on how many bars I can get to train staffs, I do a little sip with them, because that's the welcoming, inviting thing. You don't want to be an ambassador that doesn't enjoy your own product, right? Cognac doesn't get old to me, so that was an easy yes. It being Hennessy itself was kind of screwy, because I knew we all know Hennessy. We all think we know Hennessy.
I mean, as mentioned, it is ubiquitous.
Right, exactly. So working for a cognac, I was like, yes. Working for Hennessy cognac was like, oh, what am I about to get into? Because you start peeling back the layers and it keeps going, right? I didn't know the history. I didn't know all of the things that go into Hennessy, the rich, steep storytelling that you don't get until you get close to the brand. And that has been such a great relief, right? Because we sometimes step into holes that we don't want to, step into. Obviously, big brands sometimes make mistakes, but the steep history of Hennessy has been pretty consistent for about 250 years. And I'm thankful that I was able to say yes to them, because it's been a joy. If I can share, like, one thing that I did not know about Hennessy when I started was, one of the reasons that it's so close to the African American community in the United States is not because they pay people to drop names in a song, right? Hennessy One has never paid an artist to rap or sing about Hennessy. The real history comes from leadership of Hennessy in the late 1800s. We're kind of like delivering a batch of barrels to the United States and New York with their distribution partner, William Shefflin. William Shefflin was friends with Booker T. Washington. And the leadership of Hennessy at the time, still kind of like family owned, family run, were taught to always care about the culture that you were imbuing with Hennessy, right? So when at the time it was Maurice Hennessy, William Shefflin, and Booker T. Washington met up, Hennessy immediately started caring about the plight of the black man in the United States. So Hennessy became the founding sponsor to the National Urban League in 1896. In 1909, they were the first corporate sponsor of the NAACP. They were the founding sponsor of the Tuskegee Institute. All of these things, the biggest thing that brought Hennessy to the United States and really cemented its kind of lore with the African American community is at the end of World War II, when black soldiers were waiting to come back to the United States because they had to wait, right?
They were sent over last, yes.
Right. They were celebrated in France in the European theater as, heroes.
The fucking heroes they were, yes.
Exactly, with champagne and Hennessy.
Right.
So that empowered an entire generation of black men that when they had a bottle of Hennessy with them, they were heroes. They were war heroes. They had, become something that was bigger than what they fought for. So they brought back bottles and cases of Hennessy in the, after 1945. So that is really kind of what shaped the dialogue between Hennessy and the African American community from then on.
And I assume the United States in general.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right,
Absolutely.
that's a pretty tremendous, foundation of buyers.
Right.
So then the product is here, and then everyone sees it.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I knew some of that, but I didn't know all of that. That's pretty wild, man.
Yeah.
And for those who aren't watching us on YouTube, as a black man working for that brand, that has to certainly be impactful and prideful for you as well.
100%. I was like, why aren't you shouting this from the rooftops? But they understand that it is a French, white owned company, and they don't want to knock that door so many times. But yeah, as a black man, I felt so empowered to be able to like, oh, that's what we're doing here, not tricking people into buying Hennessy.
But I imagine that because there's so much history and because it has such a, what's the word I'm searching for here? Such a this is why we don't usually do the show at 10 o'clock at night, folks.
You're searching for the word editing because you're going to edit all this out.
Yeah, exactly. Because it occupies an almost mythic place in the American psyche, particularly as we've talked about the Black American psyche, I imagine that almost, in a weird way, must make your job harder because everyone kind of has an idea of what they think about Hennessy.
100%.
Sure. Yeah. I think about this. Yeah, I'd like you to talk about this. I think about this with all the big brands. I think about how hard is it for someone to sell Tito's, right? Everyone's already got an opinion. They're either on board or not on board. How hard is it to sell Jack Daniels? How hard is it to sell Hennessy? Yeah. And you're not. And by the way, let's reinform the listener. You're a brand ambassador. You're not a salesperson. There's a difference.
Correct. Right.
But you have to sell the ethos. Someone else has to sell the bottle, right?
Yeah.
Right. That's a great point. And it is sometimes harder in that ethos, right? Because we have to overcome exactly what, Greg, you alluded to. Like, I already know what Hennessy is. I already know what it tastes like. The hardest thing for me is to get, we call it liquid to lips, right? Like, just taste it with me, because I know you think you know what you're talking about, but actually you probably did a shot of Hennessy one day. I understand that. We're not going to shoot it. We're actually going to taste it. So it does. There's two things with Hennessy.
But we can shoot it still too, right?
Oh yeah.
Just checking.
Yeah. Responsibly though. Responsibly,
of course. Responsibly. Yes.
The two biggest challenges with Hennessy is that, number one, I already know what Hennessy is. And number two, sadly, I don't want that crowd, right? Like when you walk into, a steakhouse that's in, South Carolina, and they're like, no, we don't really want to do Hennessy VS. Maybe we'll talk about Hennessy XO because that's a different clientele, but we don't want that crowd. And hearing that as
it's coded, man. I know what that means. I grew up in the Deep South.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So those have been the two biggest challenges, because in one situation you're overcoming a lot of misconception, and then the other one is just the fact that I have to reintroduce this to you. So those are two big challenges with Hennessy.
Can you, unless it makes you terribly uncomfortable, can you talk about how do you deal with the second one? How do you deal with we don't want to promote, quote, that clientele or serve those people? Like what?
It's a case by case basis.
Of course. Of course.
Yeah. Sometimes it is just straight up racism. And then sometimes it is, you don't know your clientele, right? You don't understand how to package this. A meeting that I had, I'll refrain from using the name of the place, but I had a meeting with a place that they asked me to come in and do a Juneteenth celebration. I'm all for it. As I'm talking to the owner, he's repeatedly telling me over the course of about 45 minutes how every time that he has Hennessy on his back bar, all he can sell is Hennessy and Coke. And I'm like, sure, but have you tried this? Didn't want to hear it. Just was tired of Hennessy and Coke. Like, okay, I get it. You don't want Hennessy. We're not going to do this anymore. And I can't convince you, right? Mm-hmm. And then there's sometimes where it's just a matter of like, okay, you think that you're losing money by selling Hennessy, where all you have to do is repackage it, understand your consumer a little bit more, and now you can do more with that clientele because you're trying a little bit. You're meeting them where they are instead of taking away something that they want. So those are, every case is individual, and the challenge for me is not closing my door to that immediately. Once I hear that, I used to get pretty offended because it's sometimes pretty offensive, but I have learned to hear it and then, okay, what is this person saying? I ask a few questions, and if they're, if it's just racism, I leave it there. Yeah. But if it's they don't understand their own clientele, maybe I can help you a little bit. And it's just a dialogue, like not closing the door right away has helped me a lot.
And that must take a tremendous amount of patience, and I applaud you for that. But my immediate response was like, I mean, if you're the type of place that has Coca-Cola, then what do you care if someone's ordering a blank and Coke? Yeah. You still made the money, right?
You brought the Coca-Cola in there. You knew it was
I don't have Coca-Cola at my bar, so no one orders anything in Coke. Because if you don't like blank and Coke, then you shouldn't like any blank and Coke.
Right.
So that whole argument seems moot to me. That seems like patently stupid from a business perspective alone. And by the way, like, let's go back in time. Let's go really back in time. Like early bartending days for me, like 1-and-1s were the thing, man. You were real fast. What do you want? Gin tonic? You want a box soda? And a Jack and Coke? Let's go. Like 1-and-1s make money, and they make money fast.
And the reason I was laughing was it was a 45-minute conversation for me to tell him, why do you have a gun?
Yeah.
Like you're telling me all of these things, and you're telling me why you don't want that crowd, but yet every one of your wells has a gun.
Yeah.
Like, stop talking to me.
This isn't you not wanting a crowd. This is you not facing the music on the choices you made to the things you do serve. You know?
Absolutely.
Like, you don't want a bunch of screaming kids in here, then don't serve grilled cheese sandwiches. You know what I
mean?
Yeah. Don't be Chuck E. Cheese.
If you don't build it, they won't come.
That's Charles. Right. It's Charles Entertainment Cheese, by the way. His middle name is Entertainment.
Nice.
Put some fucking respect on his name.
It's true. Look it up. I mean, we're simpatico on that, right? We were behind the tiny bar at Amore, and that's kind of all we do there, right? Hospitality.
What was it like working with Sother, Sean? Be honest. Like, what was it like being behind that tiny bar with this guy? We so rarely get a glimpse into him from this angle.
The DDOC, baby.
I learned so much from Sother. I don't get asked that question a lot, so I'm enjoying.
These are where the hard hitting questions happen, man.
No, for real. I learned so much from Sother because, I mean, obviously, you guys are excellent on this podcast, and you have an intellect and you have a wit, and it's so quick that it makes sense. Working behind a bar with Sother, you see the wit and the response in real time, and sometimes it just left me like, oh, I need to practice. I need to practice my replies, right? We get the same questions all the time, and we want to be hospitable. Sother he was never flummoxed. He never stalled. And it was because he had this game plan, and he always implements the game plan, right? When he was behind the stick at Amore, he was Amore Amargo, right? And everything about his replies to guests, how he made them feel comfortable. Oh, you don't have juice. Well, this is why. Everything made sense, and it made me realize that branding is a huge thing, right? Mm-hmm. Like understanding what a brand is from the bottom up. So the one of the beautiful things about working with Sother is you got to be on top of your game. all the time.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
You're embarrassing me. Can't come onto my show and embarrass me.
Right. I want to see what Sother looks like blushing. Watch this on YouTube.
I think it's this weird light that I put up because it's dark in here, it's dark outside. See, when I lean in, it's brighter.
We've been talking a lot about like learnings and, like education and digging deeper into your craft here. And you just completed, I guess you could call this the SEAL Team 6 training of that for the bar world. You just did Bar 5 Day. Tell us a little bit about that.
Wow. Yeah, I'm still kind
Recovering?
of, recovering, digesting and like, yeah, it's such an intense experience. I'm so thankful
let me stop you right there though. Before you jump too deeply into it, can you just give us the elevator pitch? What is Bar 5 Day for the listener?
Bar 5 Day is the professional equivalent to being a master somm. Like these two gentlemen decided that bartending is a craft and it is a trade that should be respected as such. And there should be something where if you have this accreditation, and accreditation might not be the right word, but if you have this training, you have the best training available in that trade. And for us, they've positioned Bar 5 Day as that ultimate, that's the mountaintop. It's the PhD of bartending. So, and they specifically say bartending, which I find pretty interesting because I would even argue that it is a step into the spirits world that is unequivocal. Like I've done rum classes, I've done whiskey classes. They do everything. And every day you're tasting up to 60 spirits and it's 5 days.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a 1 week long crash course. I would equate it to, because I have a master's degree, it's a good 2 semesters of education in 1 week.
Wow.
Damn. Yeah, at the master's level.
just surely based on workload alone. I mean, I've heard about it over the years. I've never been able to do it myself. It is quite expensive.
Yes.
Most of the people who go to it get sponsored by either their job or a brand.
Totally.
Because it's kind of unaffordable otherwise, because not only do you pay the expense of the thing, but then you pay to miss a week of work. So it's like kind of a double whammy. So it sounds like your walkaway was, and I'm guessing the brand paid for it, but it sounds like your walkaway was pretty impactful.
Absolutely impactful. I was excited to take it as a learning experience because, I mean, I truly believe that if you think you can stop learning, you can just pack it in, right? We should always be constantly becoming. And so I was excited to learn. I was really thankful for the brand for kind of paying my way. And I started with an open mind and I just got congratulated at the end. You know what I mean? I just got more receptive to the process as it went on. And by the last day, I was like, I'm so thankful that I got to sit these 5 days, because if you sat Bar 5, you understand. If you pass, great. There's different distinctions of passing, but sitting Bar 5 is a huge accomplishment because it's so much information. It's so much the people that you meet, the communities that are built from it. They're really trying to build the leadership of the bar community moving forward, which is something we desperately need in the industry because of, I mean, we see it, how brands are going, how individual bars and restaurants are going. There is a need for more hospitality right now. Absolutely. Not just because of the state of the world, but because since COVID, we are losing some of our smartest and brightest and most talented people. So where are the new smartest and brightest and talented?
Well, not only where are they, but where are they getting their mentorship? If that crowd has left the field, then that not only leaves a hole where they stood, it leaves a missing, bridge of education or experience that isn't shared.
Yeah.
So things like Bar 5 Day are probably pretty crucial for that, but it's only once a year. How many people can do it? It looks like, I see photos all the time. It looks like about 100, maybe 60.
Yeah, so my class was a little bit smaller because of the weather at the time. The storm had just hit. Right. So a lot of people couldn't make So my class was about 55.
Okay.
Normally about 70 to 80 sit. And then, you know, some people fall off job related or their sponsorship falls through, whatever. But yeah, I'd say 70 is kind of the average for a size class. Yeah.
Right, which means you're getting a lot of one-on-one time with the quote unquote faculty, right? And the faculty are all major players and heavy hitters, some of which founded Bar 5 and are still doing it, and some of which went to Bar 5 and have now become sort of the faculty, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a real who's who, and like it's again, I've never done it because it's too rich for my blood. But I'm in the same camp as you. Like I'm always for education. I'm not a gatekeeper of knowledge. I want to share, as soon as I can, as soon as I get information that I can verify, I want to share it with everyone that I can. And I'm not saying these guys are gatekeepers. I'm just saying it's a program that's obviously worth the money. But I just don't have that kind of money.
Yeah, it's real. I mean, the CAP program too, now that Tails and Charlotte have this new relationship, the CAP program is pretty vital to Bar 5 Day. And
you're a good friend of mine, Chris Elford. He was a CAP for it a couple of years ago, and CAP just means that he was there to set up all the tastings, pour all the boozes, clear glassware, wash glassware, all that stuff. But while doing all that, kind of like an usher at a movie theater, you get to watch the movie.
Right. And they take the test. And they take the test at the end, right?
Yeah. And he passed, right? So like I could see maybe doing that at some point, but also, I feel like I'm getting too old to do that.
Yeah, it's a hustle. It's a hustle.
Like it sounds like it's hard enough to sit there and do the class, much less facilitate the class and do the class.
Yeah, it's real. You got to be a young man to do something like that. Yeah.
Well, all of us are, and that's kind of a question that I wanted to ask is, when you were at Bar 5 Day, what is sort of the age demographic there?
Oh, wow,
so much ink and time has been spilt in articles and on podcasts talking about how those damn kids aren't drinking these days. Were there Zoomers there, or was it just all olds like us?
No. I was by far probably the oldest person there.
That makes me very happy to hear, actually.
Yeah. No, I mean, it was exciting because, there was a few bar owners there. There were brands there that were educating their staffs. And then there were young bartenders, and the young bartenders kind of dominated the demographic. I'd say the oldest bartender was like 5 years in, maybe, that was the extent of their experience was 5 years behind the bar. Some of the CAP program and bar study were like 2 years in. So a lot of young bartenders were there, and it was very exciting for me to see because we need it. We need to see that next generation.
I don't want to be part of those damn kids industrial complex. I think that a lot of the social ills that we're talking about are because of COVID. And I don't think that they just affected young people. I mean, I moved in early 2021. I prioritized having a really nice apartment that I love over being close to bars that I could walk to, because that was where the world was at that point. And I don't think I was the only one, but that has impacted the way that I go out and where I drink and how I drink. And I think that a lot of people made that choice, particularly a lot of people who were just starting out, maybe in New York or LA or New Orleans or Kansas City or Vegas. But on my optimistic days, have to believe that there are enough people. We just interviewed one of them on the show, Rob Lamberns, who's like 22, 23. I can't remember, but I was shocked when I found out how much younger than me he was. And he's a beverage director at Lenten now. There's got to be enough of them that are going out and saying, no, you know what? I'm going to do what you were talking about, Sother. I'm going to go to these different places. I'm going to learn because this is a culture I want to be a part of, and this is important to me.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Me too. God, I hope so.
I hope so. The thing that I have observed, because being a brand ambassador also enables me to move into different circles. I can be in any point. I can be in a Michelin star restaurant. I can be in a dive bar. I get to see all of the scenes. And, when I watch some of the things, like I can't remember the IG page, but like, you know, where's the best martini in Manhattan? Where's the best, you know, late night food bite?
Oh, that's
You
the
can-
Vine Pair thing that Tim used to do.
Right. So when you watch those things, because I am able to move in different circles, I can tell where that person works. I can tell where they work in the city. I can tell how far they travel from where they work, and I can tell where they live. So it is a community-driven thing, how we ingest society. I think the challenge right now for all of us and for the next generation of bartenders, move outside of your bubble.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think another challenge though that I would point out is, and you know, using Instagram as another foil for it. I follow, I don't want to embarrass her, so I won't say who it is, but I follow someone on Instagram who travels a lot, and she goes to different cities. And when she's in a different city, she'll say to the bartender, I'm going to drink wherever the bartender tells me. And she'll choose a bar that's typically a craft cocktail bar as the first stop. And that bartender, I would say 30% of the time, sends her to another craft bar.
Right.
That second craft bar, I would say 90% of the time sends her to a dive bar. And then every dive bar subsequent in that video sends her to another dive bar.
Right.
Which just tells me that too many of the people who want to be in craft, which is what we talk about mostly here. I'm not saying other bars shouldn't exist. They should. You know, the joke I've used for 20 years now is, we can talk about this over lunch. I'm feeling fish. Do you want to go to McDonald's or La Bernardin? They both serve fish.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm happy to go to either one. Right. They both belong. So I'm not saying dive bars don't belong. What I am saying though is it's a bit concerning to me that so many craft bartenders never visit craft bars. They visit the bar where they work, and then they go out to dive bars. So exactly the opposite of what I was just saying that I did for a year, where I went to every craft bar I could get into because I was trying to hone my skills. Right.
You're right. The other side, like hand in hand, is, you know, let's talk about restaurants. Because there are restaurants with great bar programs,
which didn't used to be true, and now it is.
Right.
Like,
and
again,
now it is, and we're not talking about them yet. You know, like we're not talking about them yet because there are the double chicken pleases of the world that we are this brand. There are really intelligent, sophisticated, well-curated, great hospitality restaurants that have great bar programs that we need to start talking about, because also they are taking talent from those craft bars.
They are.
Yeah.
Well, man, it's always great to talk to you. And I feel like I know I could, we have before, I could sit and talk to you all night. It's also fun to actually talk to you at night.
Right.
I know. Yeah.
If you'd have been on the show this morning, I'd have been like, okay, bye.
Yeah.
Got to get on.
I would have been a lot more sober, and that'd be super fucking boring. So
I'd be like, I got to get on about my day. See you later. So where can the listener follow along with you to see what you're doing? Where can?
Oh no! Wait! We gotta ask him. We gotta ask him. Oh
right, we have a new question. Sorry.
Our new thing. We're doing bits now. We're doing segments.
We got
and
I totally forgot because we're at a weird hour. I totally forgot.
Yeah, late night. Yeah, for the listener listening, we had to reschedule this because it turns out when you run a podcast and you do it in February, a lot of people get sick, and having people who can't talk isn't great guest work for your podcast. So
bad for radio. You can't talk. It's bad for radio.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why we're doing this at night. And once again, Sean, thank you so much for rolling with us and coming on. This was delightful. Couldn't have asked for a better conversation. Thank you to close out my day. But
my pleasure.
To close out the show, the one question we've been asking people at the end of every episode is, where are you drinking these days?
So highlight a place that you've been drinking.
We've already done Captain Dan's.
Places? Yeah. Can I highlight 3 places?
Hit it.
Millie's, Don't Call Me Shirley. And I mean, if I can get to Bar Snack, I'm going to Bar Snack.
Man, I was just there Sunday.
Yeah.
But I don't know either of the other two, Millie's and Don't Call Me Shirley. What do you got?
Millie's just opened up a few months ago. It's Brooklyn on Bedford. It has a dynamite small menu food, but full dinner. They get cracking on the weekends. They remove all the bar stools, kind of like what we did at Amoria Margot. Like it's when a certain hour hits, the bar stools go, and it's just standing room only, very beautiful hospitality, very clever, but based in classic cocktail culture, cocktail menu, just a beautiful place to be. It is a highlight of Brooklyn right now.
Millions.
And I
I'll
hope
check
it
out.
continues to be. Don't Call Me Shirley is the quiet version of it.
All right.
It's the place you can duck in and just get that beer and a shot and be in a beautiful bar. And it's, you know, they've got whatever bartender is working, that there's a different playlist. You know, it's just all personality, the old school bartender way.
Yep.
And obviously we have been to Bar Snack, so I don't have to up their game any more than it already is. Yeah.
Listen, they're still, it's just so, I can't put a better word on it. It's pleasant. It is such a pleasant place to be, whether you're at the table or at the bar. The team is engaging and gorgeous, and happy to have you there. And you know, of course, Ian's a rock star if he's around. Love Bar Snack. I was literally there on Sunday.
Nice.
Okay, so I'll get to the question that I was getting to. If anyone wants to follow you around or ask you any more questions about being a brand ambassador or the brand specific, where can they see you on the internet?
They can hit me up on Well Balanced Sean on IG. And yeah, that'd probably be the easiest way. And I don't post a lot, but I absolutely will answer DMs.
Well Balanced Sean, and I love that that's a play on the fact that drinks are well balanced.
Yeah.
Do you even tell people this? Am I about to reveal? And
No,
also,
go
a lot of your artwork, large installation artwork, is all about
Balance.
objects of art that are balanced on one another.
Yep, absolutely.
Well Balanced Sean, I love it. Cheers.
You inspired me to pick that name for sure.
All right. I'm blushing again. Well, dude, it was really, really great having you on and seeing your face. It makes me feel a little bit ashamed knowing that you live so close to me and we don't hang out, and we should. But as soon as the snow finally melts away, I will be cracking open the grill in the backyard, and you have an open invite at all times. You and Annapurna both, and the little dog too.
Hell yeah, Miles would love that.
Greg, you want to read us out?
Absolutely. That is going to do it for us this week on the Speakeasy. But if you want more, you can join us on our Patreon. Our Patreon guests, you already know this, which is good because I'm doing this without a script and I've had a lot of whiskey. So we're going to see what comes out of my mouth here. Our Patreon regulars get more show, like 20% more show, because we don't have time for everything on the main feed. So if you want to listen to the whole conversation, become a regular. You also get ad-free listening. You get free cocktail kits each and every single month from our friends at Shaker and Spoon, and you get cocktail recipes from all of our guests. Plus, you get access to our live monthly hangouts. February, if you didn't know, is a short month. Kind of snuck up on me. Sother, we got our next one coming up. We need to talk details. We'll share those here soon.
Sounds great. And then, of course, if you've been listening, you know that I started a new show in January called Sauced, where we cook with booze and drink with food. Tim McCurdy and I, we've got 7 episodes live already. Another one drops tomorrow. Well, actually, it's yesterday from here, which was French onion soup, because it's still cold outside, and it's a perfect thing to have right now. But check out Sauced.
Check out Sauced, especially this Lent. If you must give up the Speakeasy for Lent, you can supplement, much like the monks of yore, you can supplement your diet of Sother with Sauced while the high holy days are going on. And be sure to tune in next week when our guest is going to be Tauz Rafi, which I am really, really excited about. He has been doing a lot of very interesting and unexpected things in the bar world that I'm really excited to talk with him about. So be sure to tune in for that. But until that day, cheers, everybody.
Cheers, gang.
Cheers.
So you don't shun the devil with your rock and roll, Lord. Knows that country music's gonna save your soul. The